So if we want to, everybody jump into board one, so click on your partnership name and come up with your detailed results, then click on the blue TV icon and jump into board one. Questions seem pretty specific here, and it related to is one no trump with the east hand any good? So North's the dealer. What do you think, Andy?
Afternoon, everyone. Hope you all had a nice session this afternoon. Okay, so now comes the more important part of bridge, that is the post-game analysis. Okay, looking at board one, hope everyone can see. Obviously, North would start off with a pass, and opening bid by East. North East has a 4-1-4-4 distribution. My view on off-shape one and trump opening bids is pretty much I would almost never do it. Okay? I mean, I guess I would have a bit more sympathy if the distribution was a single in spade, 1-4-4-4, and roughly about 15 points, because this is the type of hand where if you say open one club or one diamond and partner responds with one spade, your hand is sort of a bit too weak for a two-heart reverse, and by rebidding two clubs signifying 5-4 distribution, which is sort of not right with the 1-4-4-4 shape, and a one no trump rebid typically shows 12 to 14, assuming we're playing a strong no trump based system, is also a bit of a misdescription. So I would have a bit more sympathy with 1-4-4-4 distributions, even though myself, I still would not open one no trump. Okay, and now I used to be in that camp where if I had a 1-4-4-4, I would open one no trump, hopefully alleviating that bidding problem where if it goes one diamond from me, one spade from partner. But throughout the years, that style probably only lasted me at most 1 year, because what I find is that people think about these problems, or they take these problems too seriously. That is, well, if you open one club or one diamond, partner bids one spade, what's your rebid? Sure, that problem is very tough. But what I say is, well, that scenario, it doesn't come up all of the time. Maybe partner might respond with one heart, maybe one no trump, two clubs, or perhaps the opponents give you the information by overcalling one spade. That will certainly help you quite a lot, because now you know, hey, probably no trump is not the contract I want to be in. So I view one no trump openings with like these 1-4-4-4 distributions a bit on the borderline of masterminding. Just keep it plain, keep it simple, and open one of them minor. Get the dreaded scenario that partner responds with one spade. Assuming we are 1-4-4-4, then maybe rebid two clubs, maybe rebid two hearts. Try and survive it, but that scenario doesn't come up all the time. So for this East hand 4-1-4-4, I would definitely start with one of a minor, depending on your partnership. What do you think, Laura?
I might just jump in there, and I'll just say that for those people who haven't ever heard of a no trump being opened on this sort of hand, you have nothing to worry about, and you're probably sitting there almost shocked at the idea that it's thrown out there. I think with bridge, a lot of the time you sort of see different problems and things, and you learn about all these masterminding tactics, and in all honesty, they seem to be thrown in a little bit too often. I'm even Victorian now, or at least I'm going to say that I am, although I'm from the ACT originally, and we're known for being, especially in the youth fraternity, a little bit pushy and wild there, but yeah.
Only just the youth.
Yeah. Although you said you did this for that style for about a year, I'm guessing that might have been a year.
At most 1 year, I said.
At most 1 year. Were you in Victoria at the time?
Possibly.
There you go. So yeah, personally, really not a fan of opening a no trump on a hand like this. I don't mind sneaking a 6-card minor in there if you wanted to do that. In fact, I encourage that. But yeah, and a 5-card major I'm a big fan of, but not this sort of. Yeah. All right, why don't we jump across into board number 4 now? So if you want to close up number 1, just with the little close button, which is just below your profile picture area, And then what you'll be able to do is click on the blue TV icon next to board number 4. And this one was a pretty specific question as well. So we've got West as the dealer, and it assumed that there was a West opening of 1 spade. I might just get Andy in a second to talk about the opening of West with 1 spade, and then the specific question related to the North hand of whether or not to bid 2 hearts. So what are your thoughts, Andy?
Yeah, so for this West hand, it is only 11 high card points, but always look at your distribution. With the 5-5 distribution, has quite a lot of playing strength if you have a fit, and normally with the 5-5, quite often you will have a fit. And even if you have heard of the rule of 20, it certainly fits within our requirement. That is, add your high card points and then add along the lengths of your 2 longer suits. So here it's 5 spades and 5 clubs. If it equals to 20 or more, you can open the bidding. And here, by all means, open the bidding with 1 spade. There might be some old schools of thought where with 5 spades, 5 clubs, they might talk about opening 1 club. Don't even read that. Open 1 spade, high major. After 1 spade, should North come in with an overcall? Okay. When it comes to now, overcalls at the 1 level and 2 level are very, very different. 1 level overcalls, I mean, I was about to say anything goes, but not quite, but almost. But when it comes to overcalls at a higher level, starting from the 2 level and above, not only does suit quality become much more important, but also the distribution as well as the vulnerability. That's always my tip when it comes to any competitive bidding decisions. Look at your distribution, the vulnerability, and your suit quality. All those 3. That basically applies to pretty much every single scenario. Here, the vulnerability, everyone's vulnerable, so that makes me want to err on the cautious side. My distribution is a 5-4-2-2 only. Now, it is better than a 5-3-3-2, but 5-4-2-2 is still not that great. But having said that, it is quite a nice suit, especially at 10 of hearts. Okay, always give credit to your intermediate cards, that is the 10s, the 9s, and 8s, and your long suit. They're not worth any high card points, but they definitely make your suit much stronger. For this hand, I think it is pretty much on the borderline, and normally when it's on the borderline, I like to be slightly aggressive, so I think I would overcall 2 hearts. But it doesn't take much for me to pass with this hand. Move. If that was a 5-3-3-2 shape, then I would definitely pass. Now, I know some of us might have been taught or maybe read textbooks that overcalls at the 2 level promise 10 high card points, 10 or more high card points. That's the rough guideline. Now remember, anytime you get a tip or a guideline, or anytime you learn about that, it doesn't mean you have to apply it to every single hand. It's for you to judge and evaluate how good your hand is. It doesn't mean every single 10, anytime you hold 10 high card points, you should overcall at 2 level. It just means 10 is the absolute minimum, but you have to look at the rest of your hand. So here, I think it's just a very, very marginal 2 hearts. Once North overcalls 2 hearts, then of course nothing should stop South from probably taking all the way to 5 diamonds, I would say, with it's an 8-card suit. Yep, 2-2-1. So yeah, 8-card suit, ace double heart support. Partner should have a bit of something for the 2 heart overcalls. So yeah, I mean, it would be fair enough for South just to even jump to 5 diamonds, given that 8-card suits, they call 8-card suits the trump suit. Yeah.
That only makes it a lot easier. Yeah, North does make that overcall there to get to 5 diamonds, which can make on the hand. So unless there were any follow-ups there, let's jump into board number 5. So there were no specific questions on board number 5. So why don't we just run through how you think the auction should go with our dealer as North, Andy?
All right, let's go through board number 5. Okay, board number 5. North passes, East opens 1 spade. Looks like North-South will be out of this auction here. So East opens 1 spade. Assuming playing 5-card majors, then West will raise to 2 spades. Showing 3-card support, 6 to 9 points. And East here is 17 high-card points. Knowing that there's a fit, don't fall into the trap. That is, we're all learn about distribution points or shortage points. That is, if you have a fit, you can add points for doubletons, singletons, or voids. But just remember that if you have an honor in your short suit, like here we have Queen of Clubs in the doubles and an Ace in the hearts, you should not add any distribution points for those doubletons. Just like a singleton king. If you have a singleton king, it's only worth 3 high card points. It's not 3 high card points plus 3 distribution points. So here, East is only worth about 17. I suppose maybe with the 5-4 distribution, maybe you can add half a point. But whatever it is, I think East should not commit to game with 4 spades. East should at least maybe make an invitational bid, or maybe either raising the 3 spades to invite West, asking if West is either on the minimum side or the maximum side or the 6 to 9. Alternatively, East could also maybe make a potential game trial bid where you can bid a new suit. So here, bidding 3 diamonds. This doesn't say that East wants to play in diamonds. It just says, partner, I'm interested in game. If I had no interest, I would have just passed 2 spades. So I do have a bit of interest, and I do have a secondary suit. How does that mesh with your hand? And I think West here with a very balanced 4-3-3 with absolutely no honors in the diamonds, West will just bail out in 3 spades, and he should respect that decision and pass. I guess this is the difficult part for East, is to not always the big game. And I guess one easy thing about playing match points, where where we just did in the pairs game, that is, you don't always have to be too aggressive in your game bidding. Yeah, what do you think, Laura? I mean,
yeah, I completely agree with your analysis. There's a few really interesting things that you've brought up there, and I think you've given lots of people some good things to think about. For starters, just with the idea of when you're overcalling and not all 10 counts overcall sort of thing, that I like to really have in mind that that's the minimum. The average hand at the 2 levels probably more about sort of 12 or 13. And so if you're going to be any less, make sure you've got sort of all your honors in your suit for those lead directing purposes. And I think you really well touched on valuing doubleton honors and singleton honors and how people double dip with those. And the example you gave, the singleton king, it's like if you're adding 3 shortage points, you're saying it's 6 points. That's the equivalent of an ace and a queen, which, it surely isn't.
Quite a lot.
Yeah.
Yep, and one other thing I forgot to mention, don't ever flirt with 1 on trump opening with East. Although it's got a 5-card major, and 5-card majors sometimes usually okay for a 1 on trump, but with a 5-4-2-2, no, don't even think about it. Just start with 1 spade.
Yeah, well said. All right, so what we'll move on to next is board number 10. So if you want to close up your replay area on board number 5, and then we'll jump into board 10. I don't think there was anything specific on this one. I will just put a little note out there that I'm really impressed that a lot of people are also asking questions about these sort of, I guess, part scory hands, or these also just balanced hands. A lot of the times we just get requests for, those really crazy distributional ones. So really good to see. What do you think on board 10, Andy?
Okay, so I was saying what I was saying just before. Now that I know I was muted before, I was saying part score bidding, competitive battles, I would say, is more important than those wild distributional hands. Even though those wild distributional hands can be more interesting and fascinating, but it's these part score battles that make or break, that differentiates between a better bridge player and an average bridge player. So here, board 10, East, assuming a strong no trump framework, East will open a diamond. South is too weak for an overcall, so it passes. West responds 1 spade. Even though West has a 5-card diamond support, remember, majors first. Majors more important. Find the major suit fit first before supporting the minor. So West goes with 1 spade. Now, North has a decision. Now, remember what we were talking about on was it the first board? No, it was the 4th board. This North's hand, it's 11 high card points. Now, look at the suit. It's ace, 9, 8, 7, 6. There's only 1 ace, 1 honor. But also look at the distribution. It's 5, 3, 3, 2. And also look at the vulnerability. Everyone's vulnerable. Okay, so the textbook believers or the textbook readers who don't really look at their hand to evaluate it, they would always overcall 2 clubs. But for me, I think this hand is certainly not worth a 2-level overcall. Okay, so I would definitely pass with this North's hand. Okay, so if North does pass, then East will rebid 1 no trump, and I think West is happy to be in no trumps, and with points will invite no trumps. Let's say 2 no trumps. East having 13. Whenever you're in the middle of the road, it's up to you to judge whether your hand can push further or pass and stay in a part score. You look at varying factors like if you have aces and kings rather than queens and jacks, or do you have like a 5-card suit as a source of tricks, or do you just have like broken honors everywhere and not much of a source of tricks for suits? So here, East hand, even though East diamonds are quite nice, king, queen, jack, 10, but it's lacking aces, and it's only a 4-card diamond suit, so I think I would probably pass 2 no trumps rather than take it further. Just remember that in pairs, there's no need to be aggressive. If I was playing teams in imps, then I would always bid 3 no trumps, just because it pays to be aggressive when you're playing in a teams match.
Yeah, one thing I might just throw out there, though, I noticed that you were really keen on West inviting in no trumps. Just wondering what your thoughts are on the West player instead bidding something like 3 diamonds, or if you're playing some sort of convention like check back, rather than sort of inviting in no trumps, actually, yeah, basically inviting with diamonds as well.
Yep, inviting diamonds is certainly a reasonable option. I think because it's played in match points, if you make 2 no trumps, that's 120. Now, obviously, you'll need to know a bit about the scoring. 2 no trumps make 8 tricks is 120, and bidding 3 diamonds and making 9 tricks only is only 110. Now, I think maybe this hand is makeable with 10 tricks, so in fact, diamonds would in fact play better. But I think in general, match points, if my hand is sort of relatively balanced or semi-balanced and partner is balanced, I'll probably stick with the no trumps. So that's why I would invite in no trumps with the West hand via 2 no trumps or via conventional check back, either way. But I would invite a no trumps rather than diamonds.
Yeah, and I think another thing that's going for no trumps, I really like being able to play the. Actually, you're not even getting to play the no trumps for a second there. I thought you might be able to right side that club lead into you and value the jack of hearts, but not today.
Another subtle thing here, even though this is not the reason why I would pass and not overcall with the North's hand, is that if North does overcall 2 clubs, then the auction probably will proceed with East passing, South passing, and West still wanting to make the invitational bid. Might either be 2 no trumps, or they might not decide to go back to diamonds instead, knowing that once the opponents have a suit, it now pays to play in a trump suit than a no trump. So now West might decide to jump to 3 diamonds and play there, and now East-West can make 10 tricks. They get plus 130 instead of just plus 120 for being in 2 no trumps, making 8 tricks.
Yeah. Just jumping into the results, we did have a couple of tables reach 3 no trumps, and they got to make it today. We've also had a couple of tables stop in 2 diamonds. I think that's probably, undercooking it a little bit with the West hand. I will just put a note that I'm also a big fan of, when you've got like 11 and partners shown 12 to 14, basically not being too aggressive in terms of going to game, just because you know the maximum is going to be 25, not that 26 is just not a possibility. But I think, having that secret diamond fit definitely makes it worthwhile.
Yeah, pays to be slightly passive when you're playing pairs with match point scoring, but in teams, it doesn't pay to be in 2 no trump plus 1.
2 no trumps. Worst contract. All right, so why don't we jump into board 11 now? So board 11, folks. So close up 10 and click on the blue TV icon next to 11, where our deal is south. And I think there's going to be a lot of interest in the east hand here. So over to you, Andy.
All right, so auction starts with 2 passes, starting with south. North probably would open 1 diamond, and now East has to decide how to intervene in this auction. One possibility is a 1 spade overcall. The other possibility is that East might decide to take the slightly aggressive option of making a power double. That is, double. And what if partner bids? You intend to bid your spades to show a hand that's too strong to overcall initially. So, for example, imagine East doubles and West had a hand that would, let's say, respond with one on trump, even though West here would respond in hearts. But let's say West had a hand that would respond with one on trump. Then now, once East bids two spades, this says I've got a hand that was too strong to overcall one spade initially. Now, on this hand, it is only 15 high card points. These power doubles tend to show, about 16, 17 plus high card points. But because of the distribution 6-4, I don't mind it too much. But probably the more normal action would be one spade overcall. If East does overcall one spade, West can now advance with one on trump. Just take note, when you're advancing one on trump to partners one level overcall, this it shows a bit stronger than 6 to 9 because partners overcall could be slightly weaker. So I would say the one on trump advance is about 1.5 to 2 points more. So maybe roughly around like 8 to 10 high card points, I would say, or 8 to 11 even. So yep, West is good enough for one on trump, and East, I think with such a major suit orientated hand, might now jump to 3 hearts. So I think I would probably reach to 4 hearts on this hand with these this 4-4 fit.
Yeah, I think getting to 4 hearts is pretty good. No luck today because South has that lovely sequence in clubs, which hopefully they should get to the lead of a club, giving the defense, the finesse in clubs, so they can end up getting the 2 clubs, the ace diamonds and the ace of spades.
So it looks like the winning action is to double first, because that way you'll get West to declare the hearts.
Ooh, yeah, that would work out well today. Personally, if I'm deciding whether or not to make a power double, what I always think about is, would I be embarrassed bidding this suit at the 3 level if I had to? So just do I think that I'm strong enough and my suit's long enough? That's personally the thing that I use to gauge it. Don't know if you've got any thoughts on that, Andy.
Yeah, power doubles definitely should be quite strong, like 17 or 18 high card points. But one of my other views on it is that in 3rd and 4th seat, that is when it's gone pass, or rather, that partner's a passed hand, it's okay to be slightly aggressive when you have both majors, but only when you have both majors. Not spades and clubs or hearts and clubs or diamonds, but specifically both majors. The reason why both majors, because by doubling first, the downside of doubling first with only 15 high card points is that you might be afraid that the opponents might barrage a little high. You're thinking, oh, can I now come in at a 3 level, which is what you now referenced, Laura, just now. And normally when you have both major suits, you can typically outbid the opponent's suit, so that's probably okay. So that's why I like to be slightly aggressive. And here, when partner's a passed hand and I've got both majors, I think it's okay to be a little aggressive.
Yeah, one other thing just about your power doubles, I'd be a little tempted to be a bit more conservative generally with 2 suitors, just because you find sometimes you can't express both your suits. So that's just another little bit of food for thought. But as you say, the huge advantage with double is you never know, partner might bid one of your suits anyway.
Yep, and here partner does.
Good old partner, love partner. Okay, so hopefully that wraps up 11, and we'll jump into our last one of the day, which is board number 13. So we'll close up 11
Whoa.
and jump into 13, which was a pretty extreme hand. In a
wild
situation,
one.
Yeah, a wild one for sure. The situation that was requested was when the preempt ended up stuffing partner, basically, not the opponents. So when North passed as the dealer and East opened 5 clubs, and I guess South deserves a minimal consideration that we might talk about. Again, just kind of like the last hand, also bearing in mind partner is a passed partner. Then also what happens with the West hand. So what are your thoughts, Andy?
When it comes to these very wild distributional hands, it certainly is fascinating, interesting to talk about. But I mean, when people start to analyze these hands very deeply, I sort of lose interest because, like, these wild distributional hands, I normally say anything can happen. Like, the distribution is wild, you have no idea who has the major suits, anything could happen. So, for example, in terms of the opening bid by East, how many clubs is that? 4 or 5? 8 card club suit, solid-ish 8 card club suit. 1 club opening could work. 5 club opening could work. 4 club opening could work, even though it's a bit weird, but because of the nice distribution, if you're going to open 4, you might as well open 5. Yeah, but anything can happen. I think one strong consideration you should think about is the holdings you have in your major suits, or rather the lack of major suits. So here, when East has a single in spade and a void in hearts, although that increases the chance a partner might be stacked in the major suits, but I think more often than not, it'll be the opponents that will tend to have a big fit in one or possibly both major suits. So what this means is that I like to be a bit more aggressive with the East hand. So this means I think I do like a 5 club opening, 5 club opening, just so it it creates a very pressured situation for the opponents, whether they would double or whether they would overcall 5 hearts or 5 spades. And imagine if South had like a 6-5 distribution in both majors. They have to decide, well, okay, which major suit do I overcall at the 5 level? I have no idea. So that puts maximum pressure on the opponent. So yes, I think I do like a 5-club opening, even though on this hand, probably the 1-club opening might be the slight winner, where you could get to slam, but even still, the slam, where we're missing ace of spades, and we're lacking the queen of diamonds, so it's basically a 50-50 finesse. But I don't feel bad about missing a slam, so I would be content with 5 clubs. 5 clubs, probably auction will go pass. Don't ever dream about overcalling at the 5 level with only 10 high cut points with the South's hand. Definitely not a consideration at all. As to West, well, partners open 5 clubs. We could have 2 losers in the major suits. We could have 2 losers in spades and the ace of hearts. So as West, I would just pass and say, good luck, partner. I hope you can make 5.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I know that a lot of people would have potentially got to 5 clubs and be thinking, oh, should that West hand have done anything? But yeah, in these situations, it'd just be such a punt to bid on to slam. Yes, it does make today, but it would just be such a punt. The other thing I kind of, I mean, you're already at a game contract level, but just with preempts, whether it's your opponent's preempting or your side preempting, generally, I like the idea of being pretty aggressive to game. You're, of course, at a game contract at this stage, just with the opening of 5 clubs, but being pretty passive to a slam contract because you just don't have the information to know that it's going to be a good one.
Yeah, no, that's true. And, one of my strong philosophies is that when there's a preemptive bid, don't dream about slams unless you are quite confident that it's a good chance to make. Basically, I don't like to take punts to slam when there's a preemptive bid, whether it's your partner opening the preempt or your opponent's opening the preempt. As Laura just said, game is the number 1 priority. I don't mind missing on a slam. What I would hate is to punt a slam and it goes down 1 or down 2 when game is just an easy make, because there's so much information you don't know about, and yeah, you just don't want to punt it unless you have some better certainty. Like here, if West has an extra ace of spades, then by all means, then you can probably raise the 6 clubs. Even though there's no guarantee, because the opponents might lead a heart through the king jack and your partner might actually have a doubleton heart instead of void hearts, and you might lose 2 tricks, but it's still, I would say, a good punt. Or not actually, it's probably not much of a punt when you have ace king and the spades and the diamonds and the king jack and hearts. But I guess you probably understand what I mean. That is, if you want to raise a slam, make sure to have some extra power.
Absolutely. Well, thanks very much, Andy, for joining us in this afternoon session. I think you've given everybody some great insights into the game. And yeah, thanks generally for your support and every celebrity speaker session. Also, we do donate 50 cents from every participant to YouthBridge, which I know both Andy and I have really enjoyed our time in YouthBridge, and it's always great to be able to give back.
Seems like a long time ago.
Yeah, we're pretty old now. I will say you need to update your website. I think it says you've only been playing bridge for 6 years.
Touche. Thanks for reminding me.
Yeah, that long ago. All right.
Well, it's been great. No, thanks a lot, Laura. Thanks a lot, everyone, for playing this afternoon. I certainly hope you all had a great time. Who were the winners, by the way?
So there was a bit of a battle in the East-West department. Liz and Dave ended up on top, and that actually happened just in the last board. And congratulations, North-South had pretty clear winners with Margaret and Jan. So well done to our winners for the day.
Congratulations. Well done.